Katie. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how to start traveling. I get this question a lot, like I don't know how to start traveling or what do I need to know to start traveling. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we get started, if you wouldn't mind, please subscribe to my channel. I put out videos every Tuesday and Friday. Sometimes I forget to breathe when I talk. So the thing is about this topic, these are just my opinions and this is what has worked for me, but I am definitely a different person than you are. So you might have to kind of adapt them to your brain or to how you think or to your personality. So essentially the first thing that you need to do when you want to start traveling or want to go on a road trip is plan. And so if you guys know me really, really well, you know that I'm not a planner. And so I don't plan very much. I don't like it. That's not my personality. I'm more spontaneous in that way. Some things I do plan. When I'm camping, when I'm going to a national park, especially like a big one like Yellowstone, I will generally plan my campground beforehand and reserve it beforehand because sometimes campgrounds are really hard to get if you're going there last minute and you don't reserve them. There's just certain things that will make you feel more secure and safer when you're traveling. So this is also dependent on if you're going on a 2-week road trip or if you want to live on the road. They're completely different things. If you're going on a 2-week road trip, maybe you do want to plan a little bit more because it has an end date. And so it's how many miles do I want to drive total? How many hours a day do I want to drive? Are there a few things that I really do want to see when I'm out on the road, and kind of plan those out? And so even I might do that. If I know that I'm just going somewhere, like when I went to Maine last weekend, I knew that I wanted to go to Acadia National Park, but that's really the only thing that I planned. And everything else was just kind of like last minute, like the restaurants we went to, what we did was last minute. So if you're a planner and you're going on a 2-week trip, you might want to plan out the destinations you want to see every day, how many hours you want to drive every day, maybe the campgrounds or the rest areas that you're going to be sleeping every night, and maybe even do some research on like cool free things you can see in that town or restaurants that have really good reviews and things like that. And in the same token, if you're just leaving, if you're just going, you have no end date in mind, you still might want to plan a few things like, okay, I'm going to be gone for like an undetermined amount of time. Here are just a few things that I hope to see while I'm gone. But if you're not a planner, like I'm not a planner, then don't plan things just because you think you should, because it will just stress you out. Like if I have like a pretty strict plan of like, okay, Katie, you're driving 8 hours a day for the next 5 days, it will just make me not enjoy it. I will not enjoy it. I will not like it. I'm much more of a, oh look, there's an outlet mall over there. I want to go stop there because I've been driving for 3 hours and my legs are tired and I want to go walk around. Or I might just kind of randomly get hungry and then realize there's a restaurant that seems really, really cool that I can eat at, but that'll take an hour to eat there and then that'll throw off the timeline. And so there are just certain people who are better on timelines, but if you're not, don't force yourself to be, because it's just not going to be beneficial really, really at all. Unless again, it's one of those 2-week road trips and you know you need to be back at a certain day, there will just be certain things you have to plan. And so yeah, that tip is kind of, if you're a planner, plan, but if you're not a planner, don't force yourself to be, because you won't enjoy it, except for things that you know will make you feel safer and or more comfortable, like planning a campground or just kind of seeing where you're sleeping that night and picking out a few restaurants you might want to eat at and things like that. Don't force yourself to change your personality for a road trip is kind of what I'm saying. So the second thing, and the thing that I feel like most people are the most curious about, is money. So how are you going to fund this trip? So here's the thing. Again, if you know that you're going for 2 weeks, that's completely different, because maybe you have a job, maybe you saved up and you have time off and you kind of know what you're doing and you have money in the bank and things like that. But if you kind of want a lifestyle more like mine, or if it seems interesting to you, it is not easy, but it is very doable. So if you just want to go live on the road, I'll make a whole separate video really explaining this, but you need to be like ready, willing, and able to work jobs that are not necessarily typical jobs. And so the work that I do right now is YouTube. I do make money through YouTube. This is one of my jobs. I also am a freelance writer. And then sometimes I work for a nonprofit and they fly me to events and I work at the nonprofit events, but that's only sometimes. There's a ton of jobs that you can do on the road. If you have any creative ability as a writer, a photographer, a painter, anything like that, that is something that you could do on the road and sell your pieces on the road, sell them online, or get odd jobs writing. But if you're not, there are still jobs that you can be doing. Again, I will make this into a separate video, but there are jobs online, and there are also seasonal jobs. So if you want to travel but maybe stay in one place for a few months, there are seasonal jobs you can get. And then there's also just odd jobs. You can just go to a town, kind of look on Craigslist, somebody might need help building furniture or painting a house or something like that, and you can get a random odd job. There are ways to make money on on the road. You do not need to be rich. You do not need to have a lot of money. It is not very expensive to be on the road all the time. It all depends on the lifestyle that you want on the road. And so my lifestyle is pretty minimal on the road. I'll camp sometimes, but not a lot. I generally sleep in my car. I generally will go to grocery stores and eat for like $10 a day. But so many people, so many people ask me, how do you fund this? How do you pay for this? How do you make money? It's not impossible. It's not impossible at all. It's just one of those things you have to think outside of the box. You're not going to have a 9-to-5 and be able to travel like this. You just have to figure it out for yourself, for your own occupation, for your own desires of what you want to do for work or what you want to do to make money. And if you have no desires, if you don't like working, then that's one of those things. Do odd jobs, find random jobs online that maybe you don't love, but that they're not really hard and that they pay you enough for your lifestyle. Because again, the lifestyle is your priority. So other things that you're doing, you might not love, but if they cater to your lifestyle and let you live the way you want to live, it's worth it to me. That's my opinion on that. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is sleeping. And I've made 2 videos about this recently. I'll put them here. The first one I'll put is the places that I sleep in my car. And then the next one I'll put like my updated way on how I sleep in my car. You guys, sleeping in your car is really not that bad. Depending on what size car you have, my car is very small. It's not very comfortable. But again, sleeping in my car lets me have the lifestyle that I want. So it's okay. So again, I'll put those videos up here for you. There are 2 places that I feel the most comfortable sleeping at. There are tons of other places that other people feel comfortable sleeping at, but that I just don't personally. Again, it's all personal preference depending on if you want to be around people or if you want to be in a more secluded area. It's totally up to you. And then sleeping in your car, actually like sleeping, that's also going to depend on what kind of car you have. If you have a truck or a bigger car, you might be able to put a bed in the back. If you have a sedan or like a mid-sized car, you might be able to take some seats out and do something like that. But then with my car, I don't want to take the seats out. And sleeping in the back doesn't work. I actually tried it the other day to like put some seats down and see if I could kind of maneuver. It doesn't work. And so I sleep across my seats, and that's just what works for me. I could put this seat totally back and sleep that way. That also kind of works sometimes. Again, it might not be the most comfortable, but if your priority, if your goal is to be on the road and travel, there are just going to be certain things that you have to sacrifice or certain things that you might not love, but that let you live that lifestyle. So the last thing I'm going to talk about today is fear. And I think that fear is the most important topic in this whole video. I think that fear really stops a lot of people from doing what they want. They make excuses for it that they think are reasons, but they're really excuses based on fear, and they don't really want to commit to something that is so different from their own lives. And so again, they make excuses for it. So here's the thing. If travel is your priority, it depends on the kind of person that you are, but generally, if travel is your priority, you will figure out a way to do it, and you will conquer that fear. You will get over that fear. If it's what you really want to be doing, you are able to be like, fear, go away, bye. I don't have time for you. I have something else to be doing that I really want to be doing. But fear stops so many people, because this lifestyle that I live, or even if you're just going on a road trip and you've never gone before, it could be scary for sure because it's different. But different doesn't mean bad. It just means different. But getting out of your comfort zone, I don't really have too much of an issue getting out of my comfort zone. I like doing things out of my comfort zone generally, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people kind of let that hinder them from doing things that they actually want to be doing. They let society hinder them. They let their family and friends hinder them. They let the idea of needing money or paying their bills on time every month and thinking that you can only pay your bills with a 9-to-5 job. They let kind of misconceptions about life or societal norms decide what they do instead of their desires and maybe even God's will deciding what they do, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. And so a lot of people, I think, just live in fear or live in that comfort zone because everyone around them is living in that comfort zone. And so them stepping out, people might be like, what are you doing? That's stupid. You shouldn't do that. And so it might make them scared. It might make them have low self-esteem about their decisions or their desires. And so this is getting off a whole topic. Fear is really one of the things that really bothers me a lot, because I know that sometimes I don't do things because I'm scared to do them, but I'm also too afraid to admit that I'm afraid, if that makes sense. It's like my pride steps in, my ego steps in, and it's like, no, Katie, it's not that you're scared. You have real logical reasons to not do this. When in reality, no, I don't. It's just that I'm scared, or that I'm lazy, or that I'm in my comfort zone and I'm not in the mood to get out of my comfort zone. And this happens to so many people. And so I don't really honestly know if I have advice for you except to just do it. And if it's scary to think about doing it indefinitely, go take a road trip for 3 days. Go take a road trip for a day. Go drive somewhere you've never been before that's 3 hours away on a Saturday. Just go. Just do it. And then once you do it, it's like one of my favorite people of all time that I've ever met in my entire life told me that motivation doesn't come from outside, it comes from within. And once you start doing something, you will be more motivated to do it. And that's obviously always stuck with me because he told me that years ago. And it's true. If I'm very like anxious about something or just feeling too lazy to do something, but I start doing it, I generally 9 times out of 10 want to keep going and want to keep doing it. And I'm like, yes, cool, I did it. And now I want to keep going because you kind of feel that sense of like accomplishment just from starting. And so you don't need to have this whole big plan. You don't need to have every single step of what you're going to be doing. You just need to start. That first step is the hardest step. Absolutely, it's the hardest step. But the only real way to get to that first step is just to do it. If you want to turn that into teeny little steps, that's awesome. Especially if it comes to anxiety or something. If you need to have steps like wake up, sit up, put your feet on the ground, stand up, walk to the shower, take a shower, get dressed, put your makeup on, do your hair, leave the house. If you need to make it into those micro steps, then that's what you need to do it. You need to figure out what way works for you, what way pushes you to just do that one thing. And so there's just certain things that you're gonna need to learn about yourself and that you're gonna need to alter for yourself because we're all super different. And so if going on a big road trip scares you, then don't think about that yet. Then just think about what the first big step is. So the first big step of going on a road trip is leaving. That's really the big first step. And so the micro steps before that are packing and maybe thinking about where you want to go that day and cutting that into micro steps and cutting that into micro steps if you need to, if that works for you. But you just need to leave. You just need to go. And fear is going to try to stop you because fear, which could be the devil, it could be a lot of things, fear wants you to stay exactly who you are. It does not want you to succeed. It does not want you to live the life that you were made to live. It does not want you to help yourself or help other people. It does not want you to do anything that is different from your comfort zone because that is how it is thriving. Fear is thriving in your comfort zone. And so it wants you to stay there so that you don't change, so that you don't get better, because if you thrive past that fear, then that fear does not exist anymore. And that fear is just trying to stay alive in your body. So it's gonna knock you down. It's gonna keep you down as long as you let it. So you need to have one strong moment of, bye fear, I'm done with you. I do not have time for you. I have other things to do that will benefit me, the people around me, society as a whole. It'll maybe help the world. I have no idea, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And I always get nervous about talking about stuff like this because some people get offended and some people get defensive, and some people obviously have certain circumstances where what I'm saying does not apply to them. But I feel like the general public has at least one aspect of their life that they're letting fear take over. And that's not me attacking you. That's me absolutely, genuinely, lovingly wanting to help you and just let you know that that thing that you feel that you can't do, you probably can do. It's just fear is stopping you. And if you want to take control of your life and do something that you've never done before, if you want to live on the road, if you want to go on a road trip, if you want to just go to a destination that you've never been to before, if you want to have a job that you've never had before, if you want to apply for college, you've never done that before, if you want to do something that you've never done before and that you're scared to do, it doesn't mean you shouldn't do it because you're scared. It means that that fear wants to stop you from doing something that could benefit you. And it's really hard to push past it, but it's possible. You just have to be like, bye. Get out of here. Punch it in the face. Just get out. And you need to be very pushy about it because fear, it's like a little bug that keeps biting you and you're like, get off me, and it keeps coming back. But you need to like squash it. You need to kill it. You need to throw it out the window. You need to like pour some hairspray on it. How do you kill bugs? Dynamite? Throw some dynamite on that fear. Get it away from you. You do not have time for it anymore. You have no space for that fear because you have other things to do that will lead you to succeed in your life and help other people around you. You have no time for that fear anymore. Get that out of here. But that fear could be disguising itself in a way that it seems logical, that it seems like a real reason. Oh, well, I can't travel because I have to pay my bills. That's not a reason. That's an excuse. That's an excuse. You can pay your bills on the road. So thinking I have to stay at my job because I have bills. I hate when I hear that excuse. People tell me that all the time. And it's like, figure out a way to get a job on the road or figure out a way to start your own business where you can just do it from the road. There are ways to do that, but fear tells you that there aren't. But I'm telling you that there are because I've done them and I'm doing them right now. I'm getting hot. I'm getting all worked up. Fear wants to tell you, oh, well, you have anxiety, so you can't travel. Hello, I have the worst anxiety of anyone I have ever met, and I travel all the time. And yeah, some days I just sit in my car all day, don't do anything. And some days I cry all day, but I'm still doing it. I'm still like, fear, yeah, sometimes you creep in a little bit and I have to keep fighting you, and it's hard, but it's possible. And I feel like I say that so many times now in a lot of my videos, it's hard, but it's possible, because it's all possible. And so any excuses that you have, honestly, if you think that you have a reason, that you think that traveling really is your priority, but you have a reason to not do it, let me know in the comments. please let me know in the comments. Because like I said, there are definitely gonna be some. There are definitely gonna be some that make sense and that I say, yes, that totally makes sense for you. I understand why you're not traveling. But honestly, I'm gonna say 19 times out of 20, they're just excuses. And you might be like, well, I'm taking care of my sick mother right now. Okay, then taking care of your sick mother is your priority, not travel. You might say, oh, well, I want my kid to be in the same school all 12 years that they're in school. Okay, then that lifestyle is your priority. A life on the road is not your priority. That's what I'm saying. And so I talked about this last week. I'm talking about priorities again, but regardless, if you're letting those excuses take over, then that's fear. That's fear of maybe the unknown or failing or succeeding or having people bash you or not really exactly knowing how to start. It's all fear. But I think the biggest thing that you need to do if you want to start traveling or live a life on the road or even go on a road trip is to really become self-aware of what has been holding me back, what is holding me back right now, and see if it's a real reason. Like, actually, I love my job, so I guess traveling is not what I want to do right now because I really do just want to stay at this job for a while. That's awesome. I get tons of messages on like dating sites and on social media like, oh, I wish I could travel like you do. I wish I could have your lifestyle. Here's the thing. I don't think that you actually want to have my lifestyle. Most of the time, not all the time, but most people who say that, I don't think you actually want my lifestyle because I think that if you really did, you'd figure out a way to do it. And I know that sounds kind of like strict or maybe even harsh, but I think that you guys know by now that I'm a pretty like straightforward person. If you really wanted something, you'll go do it. And there's certain things like obviously mental illness, depression will definitely hold you back from doing things that you want to do. That's not what I'm talking about. There are just people who have 9-to-5s and they like their job and they like their life and they say that, oh, I wish I could have your life, but they really don't. They just kind of like saying it or they think it sounds cool. So they kind of want to like agree with you so that they sound cool because they think that you sound cool, if that makes sense. And so my suggestion to you would be stop telling yourself that you wish you could be traveling because you like your life right now. You love your job. You like what you're doing and you've made your choice on what your priority is. And so having that disconnect of something that's the opposite of it, it's just going to cause you pain. And so that's not fear. That's just making a choice and that's totally different. But again, that kind of thinking comes with being self-aware. You need to be self-aware to realize, you know what? I do say I wish I could travel all the time, but honestly, I don't want to. And this is just a really big topic for me because I think that people either let fear take over and that's why they don't do something, or they just really don't actually want to do it and that's why they're not doing it. So I feel like the percentage of people who actually want to do something but they actually can't is very small. And so I just hope that for you guys, either you realize, hey, I like my life and this is what I want to be doing. That desire for travel, maybe I'll visit that again next year or in a few years, but for right now, I'm going to focus on the life that I have because this is what I want. Or I really do want to travel, but if you have any like, I want to travel, but really, really look at it and see if it's fear. See if it's confusion. See if it's fear of the unknown. See if it's just hard work that you don't know if you really want to put effort into. So anyway, this video is so long. That's all I'm gonna say for now. I know that I forgot quite a few things that I just cannot think of right now, but regardless, those are the things that I think people need to focus on before they start traveling. And obviously, as you can see, my advice to just, if you want to start traveling, how do you start traveling? Just go. Just do it. And fear is almost always going to be around, but you have to work at keeping it at the furthest distance possible. You cannot let fear control you because that will keep you in a life that you do not like. I hope that you guys know that I'm not attacking you. And so in turn, I hope that you guys don't attack me because this is just my opinion and this is how I live my life. And I know that other people could live the same way. And I know that other people think the same way that I do. So I'm just telling you what I think. And I hope that it does help some of you. All right. I'm done talking. I love you. Jesus loves you. And I'll talk to you later. Bye. I don't know if you guys have been like trying to see. This is another Karl Lagerfeld shirt. Look at this ponytail. Oh my gosh, I'm obsessed. I got it from like Marshalls or TJ Maxx. Marshalls, one of those. I love this shirt. Okay. Bye.